Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about the front stance in Shotokan Karate. This stance is also called Zenkutsu Dachi in Japanese. The stance is also used in many other martial arts besides Shotokan Karate. All across the world, all martial arts use this stance, or at least most. This is the most basic stance, and it's very important to learn it when you're first learning a martial art. So be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And let's get into it. Hey guys, so now we're going to be talking about the stance. But before we get into the stance, we gotta get ready. The Japanese term for getting ready is yoi. How you get ready is first moving your left foot out, then your right foot out. And while you're doing that, bring your arms in a circular movement. So like this. I'll do it one more time. So first, bring your left foot, then your right foot. And while you're doing that, make a circular movement. And make sure your arms cross. And also make sure your feet are shoulder width apart. Make sure they align to your shoulders. You can't have your feet so far out, or else that's going to be stressing it. When you get ready, you want to feel like you're getting ready, not you're diving into it with such a wide position. So shoulder width apart and arm circular movement, and left leg first, then the right leg. So now let's get into stance. When you get into stance, you have to feel like someone's pulling you. So like maybe someone's pulling on my gi. Someone's pulling me. You gotta have that dragging feeling when you get into your stance. So some little tips about your stance. Make sure that number one, your front foot is facing forward, but more importantly, make sure that the outer side of your front foot is straight. Not your inner side, your outer side is straight. And make sure that your front knee is out. It can't be too in, because the force isn't going to be as straight as when it's out. And your back foot, it has to be pointing as straight as possible. I know it might feel a little comfortable if it's pointing out. You don't have so much stress in your ankle, but while you're doing your karate movements and stance, karate stresses some things. So you gotta have a little tension. And for starters, make sure your back leg is straight. But when you get more advanced, and when your body is facing sideways, then for advanced people, your back leg kind of bends a little, not so much, just a little. And then when you face front, then it straightens. And make sure you have good kime. I talked about this in the last video. To have good kime. So sink down and have your stomach tighten up, harden. This will help you execute your movements quicker when you have actual hand movements. But for today, I'll just be talking about stance. And also, when you go into another stance, going forward, make sure you bring your front foot, it brings the back foot forward. It drags it forward, and then it switches the weight to the leg that was moving. So first here, you have to have that dragging feeling. Someone drags you down. So someone drags you forward. You have to have all your momentum going forward. For some people, they tilt their weight a little back. You have to have as much weight as possible on your front foot when you make this front stance. Don't have a little weight, not even 2% of it, going a bit back when you switch forward. When you go forward, some people, they go 1 and 2. It looks fine, and you might be like, why does it matter that you can't go back a little and forward? How come you have to go just forward? Well, there's the surprise element. If you go back a little and you're sparring, people will know that you're trying to go in, that you're trying to attack. But if you're just going straight in, they will never know. If you don't have a little hint, you gotta be sneaky and a bit more powerful. It sure does feel a bit comfortable when you go a little back, then forward. But as I said, karate isn't about comfort. It's about power, quickness, how quick you can execute. So let's do 3 forward and 3 back. 3 front stances forward, and then 3 going back. So number 1, that. Remember, your foot has to take all the weight, and also your knee. To have a good front stance, the front of your knee has to touch the tip of your toe. Like, not physically touch, but it has to have like an imaginary line that aligns it. So go forward and make sure your height stays the same. Your height. So that means you bend. You bend while you're here. Go in and out. Make sure the width is your shoulder length. The length is double your shoulder length. So here, go in, then out. I'll show it again. In, then out. Make sure you rotate. When you're here, rotate on the heel, not the ball. The ball is incorrect. The heel is what gives it more power. It helps you propel your power forward instead of rotating on the ball of your foot. You gotta rotate on the heel. But when you rotate on the heel, don't lift any part of your foot up. Don't go like whoop. You saw that? You saw the back foot? It went whoop. That isn't that safe. You gotta have to cover as much ground as you can with your feet. But just try to make sure your heel is the one rotating, the one pivoting. It's kind of hard, but if you practice it long enough, you'll get the hang of it. So here, you go forward. Same height, and since you're already back, means here, you also have to be bent. You can't go straight. You can't go straight, or else that won't be the same height. Even if the end is the same height as the beginning, that's not enough. It's gotta be the same height throughout. So let's go 3 steps forward. 1, and make sure do not double step. Double step is when you shift your weight back, then forward. Just shift your weight forward. 2, 3. Now, when you turn, the Japanese term for turning is moate. Moate is when you bring your back leg to the side. So whatever side that leg is, it gotta go to the other side. So you see how I have my left foot as my back leg? Now I gotta go to the right. If I had my right foot as my back leg, gotta go to the left. So to the right with my left foot. You gotta go and make sure you're still spinning on your heel. When you spin, you got all the power facing to the front. And shift the weight. Shift the weight. So you shift, 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 and then forward. And something else, don't go up and down. And make sure when you move your foot over, it's at least parallel to its starting position. So here, don't bring it back, basically. You can't have a short stance. You gotta have a long stance. So don't bring it even a bit back. A bit back so it makes your stance compressed. It gotta be long. It gotta be at least parallel, the same line. If not, then even more. So then, again, we go 1, then 2. And when you turn your hips, remember how I said you can bend to your back leg? You can do that as well. So you can bend, then forward, then go, and bend, and forward. So then now we're going to be practicing how to move backwards with your front stance. Because you don't just want to go forward. Sometimes you need to retreat. You need a tactical retreat. If someone punches you, you don't want to be in the range. You kind of want to go backwards with it. So here is the same concept. Don't change your height. And make sure the width is shoulder length. The length is double your shoulder length. And when you bring your foot back, because when you travel backwards, you gotta bring it back. When you bring it back, also make sure these 2 feet are right next to each other. Basically, everything that I just said was going forward. So going back, instead of shifting your weight to the front, now you shift the weight to your back when you want to move backwards. So here, you move back. You move your weight back. And again, move your weight back. Now, let's turn. Moate. Remember? Moate is turning. Here, you have a better view. Your foot cannot go a bit back. It has to be at least the same line, if not more. So then more, and then shift the weight front. Make sure the heel is the one that's turned. For example, this. And then let's go backwards again, 3 times. 1, keep your height. 2, keep your height. 3, we're done. And something that I'm going to tell you guys, pivoting on your heel isn't that easy. Some masters, even they don't pivot on their heel most of the time. Because it's just part of their habit. It's like, it's easy to pivot on your ball of your foot, but it's not easy to pivot on the heel. So here, pivoting on the ball of your foot, that's kind of easy. You see how I'm pivoting, like this leg? Pivot on the ball, that's easy. Pivoting on the heel, that's kind of harder. But if you practice it enough times, and if you just keep it in your head while you're going through stances, just keep it in your head, and with enough time, I think you guys will get it. So now, we'll talk about the applications of stances. Stances are very important. Stances themselves can be attacks. Stances themselves bring you forward or backward. As I just did, it brings you forward really quick. Instead of just walking in a fight, stances, they also give you, you're more stable in stances. Instead of walking, you can easily trip. With a stance, well, if you get tripped on one leg, you still have your back leg. Or if your back leg gets swept out, you still have your front leg. It's easier to hold on to ground with the stance. So now I'm going to have someone come in and show how you can attack with stances. So here, remember how you gotta keep your height, keep all of those in mind. Make sure the tip of your knee has an imaginary line connecting to the tip of your toe. So now, I just gotta go into the inner side of his stance. And now, we see that with this leg being excluded all the way out, I have a lot of advantage. So he's open, but first, maybe I'm gonna bring him off balance. So with the outer part of my knee, I could hit the inner part of his knee, like that. That will kind of bring your opponent off balance. He'll kind of get stunned. So again, it's that. See how he's shifted a bit? That's pretty strong. Because remember, he's in the stance too. A stance is supposed to be strong, but if you get in the right spot, if you try to get in the right weak point, then it can throw your opponent off balance. And also, since you're here, you can also sweep your opponent. You can sweep him. Bring your knee, your ankle on his ankle, and then just sweep back. And you have all the lower pressure points. You can knee him, you can kick. He's wide open like that. And then, remember how I said that you cannot move your weight backwards because You can tell if you're gonna go if you give a little hint about going forward. If you go backwards, he sees my movement. He's a bit impaired. But if I just surprise him going in, he won't even know until he's knocked out. I have that, sweep, and then I have the lower pressure point. So that's all I have for applications. And that's also all I have for the video. If you guys enjoyed this video and learned a lot, leave a like and subscribe to see more karate tips and how